Gita looks dangerous to me in third.
Youth. Arts. Culture.
Spectrum. Youth, Arts, Culture. Every Tuesdays, 11:50 a.m., bringing you current issues, tips, insights, and more. Only on TRAXXfm.
Hi, good morning. This is Trax Momentum on TRAXXfm. I am the Greenman with you. It's 11:15, and I get brownie points for being on time. There you go. Rock and roll. Our guest in the studios this morning is Valsala Krishan, CSuite coach. We'll start by asking her, what is a CSuite coach? Good morning to you.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me here. Thank you TRAXXfm. Thank you Greenman. It's lovely to be on this show because this is a growing this is a very popular radio station.
Thank you.
And I love listening to it. So
you have good taste.
Yes, thank you.
You have good taste. This is the only radio that matters.
Okay. I'm happy to be here. What is CSuite? Anything that starts with C, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer, whatever chief.
Right.
But basically, it's the top management of a company.
Right. And top management in the company are very important. You're the backbone of it.
It's like the dad or the mom, It's like you set the whole tone, you set all the culture. If you are someone who empowers people,
right,
all your managers will empower people. So you'll go down, you'll trickle down the.
Correct.
So it's very, very important.
So if you're somebody out there who doesn't know where his direction or her direction is, and then everything's just going to fall apart for the rest of them.
If you are a CSuite, yes. But usually when you're heading the organization, you've already gone through the experience. So you're already prepared to go up there. So yes.
Right. What would you say is a good manager or a chief operating officer?
What is good?
What is a good one and what's a bad one?
A good one is a good CSuite manager or a good any manager is someone who is who can understand their team.
Right.
Okay? Because in the end, an organization is not the building; it's the people. So
right.
There's many people. There's a saying that people say that it's the people is the asset of this organization.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can work well with the people, then you're a good.
Right.
You can bring out the best in each person.
That's what you got to do, right? So you are out there helping them how to look for the best in their people and to bring that out, right?
Many times CSuite managers are also human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do with them is to manage their emotions. It's like we are human beings too. So you get to see,
right?
You get to see what happens to people, but at the same time you have to manage your biasness, you have to listen, you have to do this. So I help them manage their part, but they get to they know their job well, they know their team
Correct.
well, they know all that well, but I just get them to see a different perspective, sometimes to their own experience, sometimes limits them, especially when they work with the younger generation. Usually the C-suite executives are much older, a little bit more experienced, much older and all.
Right.
So yesterday I was talking to someone and they said, the best thing is you must always remember you don't know everything. If you already think you know everything, you won't listen to what they're saying. And sometimes youngsters can say things very blunt, very abruptly, even like your child. Okay? They say things, it looks also like a bit rude like that.
Yeah, like if you want to know if your cooking really is good, you ask a young kid. They'll be very straightforward. I like it or I don't like it. It tastes horrible.
And sometimes they will present their idea. They're very confident. You know they do not know this whole idea. They haven't thought it through, but they will say it with so much of confidence.
Right.
It can sound very rude and offensive and in your face. And then it's like for that C-suite person, he has to look at it and say, what, they just do not know how to say it. But let's listen to what they are saying, and maybe that might turn it around. So you can help that idea come to a reality,
right?
If you work with them.
Very nice.
So this kind of something
very
like
nice.
That. It's an example.
Wow, there you go. So what makes you feel fantastic about when you have your courses, right? And then you have all these people who are attending your course. At the end of it, what makes you feel fantastic? And when do you feel like as if I didn't get the message through to this person yet? I mean, how does that go about?
The first one is when I feel in our very busy life, we forget to be human. We forget to be happy, we forget to connect ourselves, we forget to tell people things in a loving, understanding manner. So a lot of times when people appreciate themselves and they also appreciate others and they are happy and they are empowered to do their job and they see things differently and suddenly they see things out of what their norm is, that's a very nice feeling for me.
Right.
Nice feeling for me.
Right.
When I know that it didn't sink in is when they go, but then I know that means it's not sinking in. So whatever I'm saying is either hitting a block or they cannot understand what I'm saying from the current perspective. So then I've either wait until the time is right to bring this up again, or I'll have to find a different approach to get them to understand what I'm saying.
It can't be that easy, right? I mean, a person in that position sometimes, and then having to talk to them, you've got all the best of all, I'm not saying they're all bad, but you will come across the occasional, I know better than you.
First of all, I'm not the employee.
Right.
So they are not my boss, and it's like it's comfortable to talk to me. Okay, so it's like I'm their sounding board. So
you're like a psychiatrist for them.
They don't need psychiatrists. They don't need psychiatrists. Yeah. They just need someone who is going to tell them this might work, this might not work, and why it won't work. But the decision is still theirs.
Right.
Like, there was a hiring going on. And the VP of the region, she asked me, what do you think of this? So I told her, I feel this candidate doesn't have enough experience. Okay, so it's not the right candidate. Then she looked at me and she said, I agree with you, but I'm under pressure to hire somebody now. So I have to do the hire anyway. So she did the hire. 3 months later, it turned out not a good hire.
Right.
But it's like sometimes they just have to do the things that they need to do because of circumstances.
No, that's horrible being put in a position like that.
That was actually horrible. That was one of a horrible example.
Right.
But at least they know what they're getting into.
Right. Okay, come. Let's see now. Valsala Krishan is our guest this morning, CSuite coach, and she's talking to us today about getting ready for your first job. And the first question here, the job market has changed a fair amount in the past 10 or so years. What are employers looking for in their candidates today compared to then? Okay,
for the last 10 years, I've stepped out as a consultant, a CSuite coach, doing culture transformation. So I actually know what's in the head of this hiring managers at the top level as well as the medium managers as well. If you ask me what has changed, nothing has changed in their requirement. They want the same thing. They want candidates who can think, who can do the job, who can work independently, can make decisions, who have initiative, who drive that hasn't changed.
That's right.
What also hasn't changed is it's not easy to find this kind of people.
Right.
Okay, and when they are fresh graduates or they have no experience in working, they lack in confidence.
Yes.
They lack in confidence.
That's very important. Your people skills is very important also, right?
Super important.
Okay, yeah.
If you don't have the experience to do the job, then what do you have?
Yeah.
You may have a degree. I mean, right now, a degree, all those are prerequisite. Everyone has it. Okay, so you need to have it. But what else do you have?
Yeah.
Okay, it's your communication skills, it's your confidence, but confidence cannot be faked. Okay, if you really look at an interview, there'll usually be two people. There'll be the HR person and the hiring manager. The HR person, which I used to be HR director, is there to assess your character.
Right.
To assess, are you telling the truth?
Right.
Confidence comes with experience. So if you're a fresh graduate, you don't have the experience yet, but you can do internship. So be hardworking a bit lah.
Right, correct. And then what about the overconfident ones, the ones that promise you all kinds of things? I can do this, no problem.
You can also see through it.
Right.
You can also see through it because you'll ask a few questions. Have you done this? Have you done this?
No, everything I've done.
From their, you will know whether you are. They say bullshit. No, I don't know if I can use this on radio.
No,
but
you can't. Yeah.
Sorry. I'll take that back. But you can't lie your way through.
That's right.
Because there's the other hiring manager as well. So the hiring manager will know: are you are you telling the truth and you're not? And when I'm looking for candidates, what I look at is this person being truthful or not?
Correct.
Okay, for me, that's very important, because can I rely on you? Are you going to tell me the truth? And many times, yes, managers want you to make the decision, but they also want you to come back to them when there's a problem. Okay, and if you do not know the organization in the beginning, you need to consult them.
Correct.
That autonomy to make decision is given with credibility, so you earn it. You don't go in there expect that, okay, since I'm this degree holder, this master's holder and all, I can do whatever I want. You can do whatever you want in time when you have earned it.
Yes, and when you've proven yourself in a way.
Yes, you have to prove yourself.
Right? And it's very difficult, I'm sure. There will be all kinds of job seekers. There'll be the ones who are fresh from school, who have not seen the working world at all.
Yes.
And from school uniform, all of a sudden you're going out there and you're going to be mixing with a whole new different group of people. There's the sector that will go to the government sector. There are those who will go to the private sector. And they're all different ball games altogether.
Yes.
And then you've got the job seeker who is probably not happy with the job they are in currently right now, who might be looking for a job, correct?
Yes.
And or somebody who's just totally wanting to change and do something for themselves.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Are you able to help all three this morning that we're talking?
Yes.
Fantastic. I like you already. There you go. Valsala is our guest in the studios. Valsala Krishan, CSuite coach. We'll be back in a few seconds from now. We'll be talking to her. And if you're somebody who's looking for that job or looking for that opportunity, this is it. Listen up, yeah?
The big kicker started again. It looks dangerous to me in third.
Youth. Arts. Culture.
Spectrum. Youth, Arts, Culture. Every Tuesdays, 11:50 a.m., bringing you current issues, tips, insights, and more. Only on TRAXXfm.
There you go. Our guest is Valsala Krishan, CSuite coach this morning. If you're looking for a job, I always have this saying in my head. This was left from my dad a long time ago. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Right?
Yes, very.
How important is that?
Many people say, I'm lucky to get this. No one's lucky. You have to prepare for it. Okay, you really... there is opportunities actually around, but you will not be able to see it until you're prepared for it. Okay, so very, very important to prepare for things. Depends on what you're looking at.
Correct.
So, if you're a person who's a fresh graduate, okay, you cannot say I have no experience. Okay, you have to prepare for it. And how do I? When I was a student, during my breaks, I'll go and do internship. So my first year will be in a corporate, you just apply lah. You just call companies and say, this is my break. I would like to be an intern. You'll be surprised. So my first time I actually went into a corporate job.
Right.
2 months, 3 months, but it gives you an exposure.
Correct.
And then another time is I went and got myself as a sales assistant in a selling water filters. Then I realized I don't like sales job. Okay, so you know what you want and you expose yourself, so you prepare yourself. So when you actually go for a job or you have an opportunity, you are ready.
That's right. But you won't get the full picture, right? Because normally an intern will be bullied sometimes when you go to a wrong organization where they'll try and make use of the intern to do everything. And then you get a wrong picture of the working life altogether.
One of the reasons is interns, they believe you're just there temporarily.
Right.
You are not there for the long term. So they're not going to give you any serious job. They'll ask you to photocopy, make coffee and all. But it's how you are. So if you're willing to I'm okay, I'll copy it. I'm okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. So eventually they'll be so happy to have you. They will actually share bigger roles with you.
Right.
This is not only as an intern. This is as when you go into your job itself, you'll realize, my first promotion, right? It's like I'm already doing the job. It's like, if you take the initiative, you ask your manager, okay, this is a problem. And there are so many things happening. Then he's like, okay, so what's the solution? So, you already work on the solutions, you already sign. Even the letter I usually draft, he sign only. So eventually, when the position is vacant, I'm already doing the job.
Right. What's important is your problem-solving skills, right?
What's important is your problem-solving skills, your ability to think, your ability to adapt to situations.
Right.
And
And that's always willing to go the extra mile. I mean, you're not somebody who's going to like, I don't know, and then that's it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if you don't know, then if you take the initiative, somebody with initiative is very important, right?
Very, very important. And sometimes there is also, for example, there's another time when I was still in my working role, right? And there was this MD who's like, everybody is so afraid of her, okay? And one day she called me and everybody was like, okay, she's calling you, okay? And I used to be in the finance department, so I'm doing the accounts for this. And she called me and she was very upset. She was angry. She scolded me, And I was like, I don't even know why she's scolding me. So after I listened for a while, then I actually asked her, what is the issue?
You did?
I asked her this, what is the issue? Then she said, the issue is this. The documents that she's having doesn't tie up. Then I said, I don't know why. Let me go and check this. So I went and checked it out. And then I came back, it doesn't tie up because this report takes this. This report is not including this amount. So no one is trying to cheat or take anything or anything. There's no issue there actually. So I went back and showed her that. And she was like, no one explained this to me before. So after that...
Right.
You earn credibility.
Correct. I mean, it's a bit strange. From her own company, people who've been there permanent have not been doing that. And then you did that.
I wasn't an intern. I was a manager.
Oh, you were already.
Then,
Okay.
But even then, it's like, because people are afraid to speak up to her and actually ask her what's the problem. And they already judge her saying that, she is very unreasonable. And she's actually being unreasonable because she cannot tie up the information that is giving.
Right.
And she assumed you're not telling the truth or somebody is lying or what. I was like, no, it's just two reports.
Correct.
It doesn't match.
She's saying N-O because she doesn't K-N-O-W.
Right?
Yes. Fantastic.
Correct.
I like that.
Correct.
Okay. How would a job seeker validate or portray themselves better in the eyes of the employer before even being offered the interview? You've covered a little bit of that, yeah? Would you like to continue over there?
Okay, first of all, for resumes, right? Resumes, right? When you put out a job offer there, hundreds of people will apply. So actually someone else is vetting through it. And it could be an assistant or a recruiter who's vetting through it, see whether your resume stands out or not, whether you meet all the criteria or not. So you customize to the requirements of the company lah. Okay, that means you don't just send your resume, every company same thing. So it's like they're asking for certain things, you think a bit, you customize it, then you will actually be matched. So the resume is just your ticket to get into the viewing for interview.
Right.
So by the time I look at it as a HR person, okay, I will also look at it and say, okay, I'll only probably have 3 or 4 candidates. That means it's already been shortlisted to me. So how you stand out, of course your photo, your presentation, all this is important. But what else? Have you done anything else to shout out? For example, right, let's say you played state. You played hockey for the state or you played badminton for the state. Oh, that is interesting. That's an interesting information. Why? Because from there I know your character. Okay, it's like, or have you done something for the community?
Right.
So if you have things like this you have done,
correct.
First of all, you must do it lah. Correct. So you don't copy-paste from somewhere.
You
don't
can
copy-paste.
Okay.
Because if you copy-paste, you will get into the interview. But at the interview, you will not hold up.
You'll be caught, yeah.
You'll be caught.
Correct. So if you played hockey for the state, it shows that you were disciplined enough to be somebody who was selected. Yes.
You have certain characteristics.
You've got that drive and all that, right?
You have the drive.
Yeah, very important. Yeah, and then you said what you mentioned earlier about how you customize each one to suit each job. You can't be just sending out one, and then you send one to a food company, another one to a makeup company, and you use the same things.
They will tell you in the job application that there will be they'll say something like job requirements. Okay, so match it.
Correct.
And many times they'll put, we like people with initiative.
Yes.
So show something in your resume that you have taken initiative.
That you've done with, and you've taken initiative too.
Yes.
Right. Very important. Yeah. How important is a resume or CV to a hiring agency or company, and what are the key points that should be highlighted by the job seeker to allow themselves a better opportunity?
That's your ticket in. So pay attention. Look at the differences that look exactly at what they want They're just matching it actually. Okay, so make sure that you have all the information that they want there. Okay, another thing is, for example, okay, I take back my experience and I share it with my children. Okay, and people that I guide. So people that I guide, they stand out so well because they do things out there in the community. So like my children, my eldest girl is studying in Harvard. My second one is in University of Pennsylvania. Okay, but they also have their own entrepreneurship, and they're going out there and doing presentations for companies for their entrepreneurship, their social movement, and all. So when they're doing this, many times, almost all the time, when they finish their presentation, the head of the department there will say, anytime you would like, I know you have your own organization, but anytime you would want a job, do feel free to call me.
Right.
So you bypass this whole interview process. You bypass all this resume thing.
By being outstanding.
Right. And these are big companies, big organizations, and hiring managers, and they become your friends, even though you're a student. Correct.
And a lot of times people forget, right? On Facebook and stuff, they would slam their previous employer. They would say all kinds of things, right?
Don't ever do that. If I'm interviewing someone and the person says things like, my boss is like this and all, straight away it's a no for me. Because if you saying this, chances are a part of it you're going to bring to this organization as well.
That's right.
Okay, so don't say things negatively about your boss.
Correct.
Your current organization, because it reflects you.
Correct. Watch your language, watch your anger, control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would be very nervous about somebody who's out there rattling.
I'll be very concerned.
Right.
I will not hire this person into my organization simply because I hire for your character. Okay, so if you are not happy with a certain place, manage that first.
Correct.
Manage that first, and you okay. So I'll give you another example. There's someone who I was working with who said that, my boss doesn't listen to me. My boss is there. I said, okay, fine. You find another job. Since you cannot work with this company, you cannot work with this boss, find another job. So, of course, he set his goal. He found another job. After you say, my new boss, very good. Listen to everything I say. I say, okay, fine.
After 6 months?
After 6 months, really, after 6 months, they came back to me and said, this person is worse than my earlier job.
Oh, there you go.
Because you actually just creating the same circumstances wherever you go. So if you haven't learned how to manage the problem here, manage maybe the boss or the stakeholders or the your people in your team, you haven't learned here, you are just going to go and recreate this somewhere else.
Correct. You must be honest with yourself, completely honest, right?
Yes.
Like we've watched some singing shows where they have this, people who come and they audition and then they're told that they can't sing. And, for all of us watching on TV as well, we say, oh my goodness, you dare try and go for an audition when you can't sing like that. Yeah. And then they're so adamant that they can sing and that the judges don't know anything. Right? If they have that kind of attitude, that's going to be detrimental to them, even in a job.
It depends. In a positive way.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, if someone goes on stage there and they get criticized like that, it breaks them. Okay, so usually they'll never try singing again.
Right.
But if you're someone who says, no, I'm going to be a singer only, I have to be a singer only, and I have a daughter like that.
That's
okay?
right.
Then
I wish I met your daughter.
Then you go and do vocal training, or you go and practice. What is it telling you? Maybe you don't have the stage command. Maybe you don't have. It means maybe you go and work on it first.
That's right.
And then come back into the audition.
That would be also another thing to
that could be.
Yeah.
But if you keep on saying that I don't have opportunities in this country, I don't have this thing, then you just that reality for yourself.
That's right. So important to make sure that...
Very important is your own attitude towards something.
Correct. How should a job seeker prepare themselves for the interview? What are some of the things that they should not do? And what are the examples that you've personally seen? Oh, this would be fun.
Should not do not ever...
Walk in there, you look like my father.
Or don't go and call them, good morning, auntie.
Oh, my goodness. You're gone.
Yes,
yeah.
Don't do this kind of things. I mean, we as Asians are brought up to be respectful. So even my first interview, my first time when I took my offer letter, I said something like, "Thank you, uncle."
Oh my God!
He was like, but this was before the interview when I went to take my interview letter or something like that. He said, "Don't ever do that in your interview or in your working life or in the working world. Learn how it's not disrespectful. Learn how to call people by their name. That's fine,
right?
And learn how to say things tactfully. So even if you don't like your current work environment, you don't like your boss, say things tactfully."
Right.
Okay. For example, instead of saying that my boss don't listen to my idea and all, you can say something like, "The current job where I am, it's not so well suited for my ideas. So I'm looking for somewhere else where my ideas I can put forward. An organization that fits the way I think." Empowers the young. So it's like, then they're like, "Oh, everybody thinks they empower the young." They'll be like, "Oh yes, we empower the young. So what is your idea?" So you put it in a more positive manner, people are willing to listen.
Right. And then they say the first 7 seconds of your impression, right? When you go inside an office, already it's very important. Yes. And in sales, when you're selling something or you're going to be talking to somebody who might be a prospective client, what you do is when you get inside the office over there, you look around and you see something like he plays golf, perhaps, and then he said, "I see you're a golfer, and hey, we play at the same course." I think that's.
But this comes with a lot of practice.
Correct.
This comes with a lot of practice.
So where do you draw the line? I mean, sometimes you might be in there, like if you're going for a job the first time, do you actually, when you're looking for a job, would you do that kind of thing as you would do as somebody who's doing sales?
You can naturally carry it, yes.
Right.
Okay, but don't try to be a smart person,
right?
Smart Alec, and copy it, and then you will come out as fake.
Correct.
Okay? And they also know
that's important.
It's very important. So do what you can do.
Right.
So if you're not someone, there are people who can. I also do this with sometimes meeting my clients. So I see their vision boards and all, and I say things that resonates with them. But this comes with many years of experience.
Correct.
Okay? So if you can do this, fine, do it. But if you're not this kind of person who cannot do it, if you're nervous, tell them you're nervous.
Right.
People just want people who are real,
honest and real.
Honest, because in the interview is just few seconds of impression.
Right.
But if I take you into my organization, I have to live with you, I have to work with you. It's like, so I want someone who's real.
Correct.
So you're truthful, you tell things as it is. I'm okay.
Right. I'm sorry, I was laughing. I recollected when you were talking about that. A friend of mine who went for an interview, and he told the person, the boss, and he told the guy, he says, "What? Ah, I see. Is that your mom?" It was his wife, So you don't do that, right? He says, "Is that your mom in the picture?" and stuff like that. You see, but you got to be very careful, right?
You got to be very careful because you don't want people to take offense straight away.
Right, unless you're going for a stand-up comedian job.
Yes, that's a different route. But again, most times people won't. Most times people don't penalize you for things like
for that. Yeah.
So they if you tell them, "No, I'm sorry," or really you don't want to start off with the wrong foot, because
correct.
After that it rattles you. Your confidence is affected. "Oh no, I've said the wrong thing," and all. But if you can be truthful,
right,
you will find the organization that fits you.
But make sure when you open your mouth, you're heard, yeah? Start off with a good morning or something, or a good afternoon, or whatever it is.
Practice. If you have not been for an interview, practice.
Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Look at yourself and do it.
But you can also talk to someone.
Right.
So practice a bit so that you don't stammer so much.
I mean, what would be the confidence pose like when you're sitting down for an interview, right? As opposed to like going there and folding your arms and talking to somebody, or somebody would have their hands in their pockets.
Practice would come with doing things in real life. So if you are a student, then you should take part in your club activities or your community activities, because those are your confidence ground.
Right.
I mean, of course, you can practice 2 days before the interview, but that is still fake or stage practice.
Right.
But who you are, if you really are a confident person, confidence comes with talking to people,
right,
solving real problems, and you don't have to wait until you are a graduate. Then only you go and gain these experiences.
Right.
See, when I was young, my parents used to tell me, focus on your studies only. Don't do anything else. Of course, I didn't listen completely to my parents. I did all the co-co activities, play hockey. I did everything because I was like...
Co-co activities? Yes. I've never heard of that.
Co-curriculum activities.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. From students to start from a co-curriculum activities.
Okay.
You know, you be prefect here, you be head of this and all, because it just gives you exposure.
Right.
But when I became a parent, I told my children, go do whatever you want at school. You know, you want to be an entrepreneur, try it out, because all these will gain your it's valuable experiences.
Right. Whether you're an outgoing person, and depending on your job, if you're somebody who's doing sales, we definitely need somebody who is outgoing, and you know. And
a lot of times. Okay, previously I used to be a finance director. I used to be a HR director. It's a very operational role. Mm-hmm. But when I went into my own consulting, now I have to do the sales role. So you can learn this.
Right.
If you want something, you can actually learn this.
You must, yeah?
Yeah.
It's important. Okay, what is the mindset of college graduates now compared to 10 years ago?
Okay, mindset of college graduates, this one has changed a bit. Okay, 10 years ago, I think...
Now they think they're too smart, aren't they? Don't they?
Now they think because they get... I shall politely say this in a very diplomatic way.
Don't worry, I'll say it the other way that you really want to say it. Yeah. You fellas think you're so smart.
Because sometimes, two things that has changed. One is they think by doing this degree, or they're doing this masters, they have already achieved things. But actually, they haven't experienced and put it into practice yet. Number one. Number two is, what I've noticed is this thing we call gifted child syndrome.
Gifted child syndrome.
Okay, so parents nowadays have 1-2 kids. And they come from families, maybe their parents were not so encouraging. So they want to give full encouragement to their children and say, you know what, you look beautiful, you are amazing, which is good. Okay, but when you overdo it, this child thinks this child is a special person.
Right, you spoilt it for them, I mean, in the sense, yeah.
And then when they go out to the job market and they realize, no, I don't know how to do things. I see this with a lot of youngsters, a lot of Gen Ys. Okay, they will come back and tell me, Valsala, my boss not teaching me well. He's not giving me on-the-job training. They promised on-the-job training. They say no on-job training, so I'm going to quit this job. And I'm like, your employer is not hiring you to train you. You know. Okay, they've already been in the job for a while. So I'm like, you have to learn.
This is
not school.
They want you to get the job done.
They want you to guide them exactly how to do the job. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Because they're hiring you to think, to do the job.
Right.
Okay? If you need training, you go find it. This is the thing that I see different from 10 years ago and now. 10 years ago, it's like, I go into the job, I figure out how to do this job. Now I go into the job, you tell me how to do this, I'll do it exactly like that. So it's very... The employees want to be spoon-fed.
Right. So you don't want to have that kind of mindset, yeah? You should not.
Why would I want that?
Correct.
If you are going to be like that, I might as well in future employ an AI. I'll just give all the parameters, they just follow that.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, but they employ you to think, to be creative, to adapt, to come out with better ways of doing things.
That's very important.
Okay, but of course, I also have Gen Ys who say, I come out with better ways of doing things, my bosses don't listen. Of course, like the bosses don't listen, you never tell them properly.
Right.
Or you just tell them an idea, but you haven't backed it up with evidence.
Correct. And listening is very important. It's more important than talking.
When you're the boss, yes. When you are the...
you have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so if the boss is saying no, right?
Yes.
Why is he saying no? So if you listen, and without getting upset with him and say, oh, he doesn't listen all the time. If you really listen, why is he saying no? Could be... previous experience has told him this doesn't work.
Right.
So you do some research and show why that experience is different from this, why you should try again. And as you earn credibility, that means other things he asks you to do, you do that properly, he will listen to this.
Right. What's your advice to job seekers now?
Job seekers now?
Yeah.
I think one of the things the pandemic has showed for people is they want work-life balance. Okay, job seekers have seen this. There was a survey done by LinkedIn that shows that 80% of Gen Zs within a year quit their job. There was an increase compared to the previous years. 50% of millennials were doing that. So one of the things for job seekers they can see is they are quick to change jobs, saying that this organization don't fit me or that organization don't fit me. Why not learn to fit there first and then change things as you go along?
Right. Once you've totally done everything you can and you've done it in the right way,
then you will either gain the experience enough to move on to another job, or things will change around here.
Right.
So
that's important.
Yeah, make things work.
Right.
Okay? And if you want work-life balance, then, if you give the impression, okay, 10 years ago, I used to be able to work from home because my bosses were like, fine now, whatever time you want to work, you get the job done. Okay, and if you cannot do things, this is another thing I see with a lot of people. They cannot do things. They will say, okay, and then they don't do it, and then that looks.
It
back
gets dumped onto somebody else.
Last
perhaps,
thing, no one likes to get things dumped onto them. So
right.
It's like communicate. Go back and say, no, the deadline is too tight. I cannot do this. I need help. Go with solutions as well. So get the job done. But be practical, communicate back to your bosses, and also when you do this, you build a strong team, both ways.
Fantastic. Yeah, Valsala, I know people who should be working from home and stay home after that. Not come to work, because they do the exact thing. They do nothing at home and they do nothing at work. So I'm kidding. Okay. Valsala Krishan is our CSuite coach this morning. She's talking to us about getting ready for your first job. And we wish you all the best when you go for your first job. And remember all those tips that she's given you this morning. Many of them will come in very handy. They're very important. We appreciate you coming to talk to us about that today. And on behalf of everybody here at Trax, thank you so much. And we hope to see you soon again. And if I need a job next time in someplace else, would you hire me?
Thank you very much.
Would you hire me?
Yes, I would.
Right?
I would, because you're funny. And having a sense of humor is so important. Yes.
In today's world, even, yes. Right?
Otherwise, you just get too stressed.
Correct.
And you stress everyone else.
Lovely.
So if you're funny and you can manage the situations, of course.
Right. I can manage any situation. Which button do I press now, KG? Okay. You take care. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.